I feel like Voyager actually didn't suffer as much from the first two seasons being bad and then getting like Next
Mm,
Generation first two were pretty kind of rough. Deep
yeah.
Space Nine was a little rough the first
It
couple.
wasn't that rough.
Enterprise, I feel like really kind of took off around the third season. But I feel like
Yeah.
Voyager, I don't
Mm,
feel like there was a big bump. I feel like it was just kind of a steady
Oh, I don't
incline.
Really.
know. That depends
You
on
that's
who
it. I
you
think
ask.
you think the first two
Yeah.
were bad?
exactly.
I
Well, it
personally don't.
depends.
I
I love the
love
first
the
two.
earlier Voyager. Like the first three seasons definitely have its own kind of flavor and tone, and it's all because of Jerry Taylor and her influence. Once she
Mhm.
started stepping back, seasons 4 through 7 are different, along with the addition of Seven of Nine. And you could say that by season 4, things are on all cylinders. It kind of knows what it is at that point, and they're going to do a certain thing. But I love, 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 and especially more than ever, just because we're maybe not going to get as many quote unquote weird episodes like, say, Threshold and Elogium. Like, Strange New Worlds is going to lean into weird, but not like that. But we got that on Voyager 30 years ago because they had to produce 26 episodes in a
Oh yeah.
season at breakneck speed, and some things just slip through the cracks. And I personally love that. I know that depending on who you're talking to, it might be, like, yeah, there were some awful episodes where the lows in the earlier seasons were really low compared to the later seasons, and then the highs are really high, though. So I feel like that's very subjective for Voyager.
Mhm. What do you think, Katie? Was there a bump after season two or three of Voyager? Did it kind of just
In my personal viewing, there's always like a dropout in certain spots when you get towards the later seasons. But I think that's more of a personal preference of I liked it when they were like, what's happening? What's going on? Kazons? Like, none of us know what's happening in the world right now. I like to see that in TV that I watch too, just floundering. So that's why I rewatched the first few seasons of Voyager.
hmm. I maybe I'm just watching it thinking of it with 90s colored glasses because when it first came on, I was just like episode one, I thought was amazing. Episode two, it just felt amazing to me like the whole way because it just felt like new Star Trek. It felt like Next Generation kind of turned 90 degrees and then presented in a different way. But it felt very Star Trek and it was very fun. It was cool. All the characters were so cool. It's always great when you meet these new characters and you learn to love them. Um, I almost felt, and I know this is gonna piss a lot of people off, I almost kind of lost interest around like the later seasons personally.
Brian, yes, yes, and yes.
I felt
It's way
like,
too much. Seven of Nine and the Borg
yeah,
going that
Hmm.
well, and the Doctor playing to its strengths to the point where it's almost you get so used to it, it's not even exciting anymore.
Masturbatory.
Did you say
Melissa, that
masturbatory?
is not the theme of the episode.
Yes, it
We're not
is.
having a contest of like how many times can we
It is
maybe,
now. I'm
maybe.
with you though. I really loved it when they were just going from Strange New World to Strange New World, encountering some weird species. There were the Vidians around, and
Hell yeah.
your
Yeah,
mileage might vary on the
yeah.
Kazon. Let's be honest. But they were trying things. They really
I
were.
love the Kazon. It was a great
And
idea.
okay. I
Their
mean,
clumpy hair.
it was just
Um,
like a
the
massive
episode
accident.
that Aaron was in was amazing.
He played a great
It is one
Yes,
of my
Kazon.
favorite Chakotay ones.
right.
Yes. See, so there was
Slim
some good
pickings, but still.
stuff. Yeah.
See, well, the thing where I kind of lost interest because I remember early on there was like the Janeway versus the Maquis
Yes.
stuff, right? Janeway
Hmm.
versus Maquis, it fits, it works, and it was like Janeway and B'Elanna were like butting heads. And then when Seven of
Yes.
Nine showed up, it was Janeway and Seven of Nine butting heads, and then
Hmm.
Janeway and Seven of Nine butting heads, and I felt like at one point there was like three or four episodes like practically in a row where they had that same thing about Janeway and Seven of Nine butting heads, and that's where I got tired. I was like, I can't keep watching the same thing. And that's, maybe that's my imagination, but that's where I lost interest.
No, you know that where that was all coming from, right? Behind the scenes.
Uh, Yeah, I
I
could
don't
guess.
know.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell the story. Yeah, when they brought on Jerry Ryan to be basically the TNA for
Hmm.
Voyager in that skin
Both.
tight bodysuit with that freaking girdle, like Jerry Ryan needs a goddamn girdle. Kate Mulgrew really resented that, thinking, is it not enough that we've got a female captain, we've got a strong ensemble cast, you have to bring on a really beautiful and talented, mind you, but very beautiful with assets blonde to perk up the audience interest in the show. She had some hard feelings about that and did take it out on Jerry Ryan for a long time. They have long since buried the hatchet on that. She has apologized publicly, Kate Mulgrew did,
Right.
and
She
things are
did.
okay. But she had some big feelings about that for a while. Just
Hmm.
and
And they
I
made
can't say
that
I
play
blame
out
her.
in the writing.
Yeah. Well, they felt the tension, yeah, behind the scenes. I think it just brought it out in their performance when they were at odds with one another. And so the writers tapped into that and tapped into that a little bit more because it made for good drama.
I heard one of the writers tapped
Hmm.
into that a little too much, if you know what I'm saying.
He sure did. And there was that whole thing too. That's another story.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching that clip. We go live every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Star Trek and Chill.